Hi there, welcome back. Today we'll be discussing expense tracking and budgeting using AI tools. Now, at the end of this module, you must have had a deepened understanding of expense tracking. Not only that, you must also have understood the use of certain AI tools to track and monitor your expenses. You should also must have been acquainted with the rudiments of budgeting and how to also use an AI tool to prepare budgets. Finally, you must have learned how to create a realistic budget based on tracked expenses. However, before we get into this, it's important to discuss on the topic, why do you need to track your expense? Why is it important to track expenses? Having understood the meaning of expenses, why do you need to track your expenses as a business owner, as a freelancer? Number one, it helps you prevent overspending such that you are able to maintain the cash flow of the business. One of the advantages of tracking your expenses is that you are able to put a control around how you spend business resources or personal resources, as it were. And you're able to manage cash flow in such a way that the business do not run into liquidity crisis. Liquidity crisis is a situation where you are not able to meet your short-term debt obligation due to lack or inadequate funding. Now, it also enables better planning for future expenses. One of the things tracking expenses help you do is that you are able to plan effectively for the future. For instance, as a UI UX designer who designs, application interface, and at every of those gigs or jobs, it requires that you pay for a subscription, say a subscription for, say, Figma, for instance. In that case, when you keep track of your expenses, of even previous gig, you have an understanding or idea of what your expense profile looks like for subsequent job, and you're able to plan. As a matter of fact, it can also help you in the determination of the price for your next gig, because you know what it will cost you already. Then you are in a better position to make pricing decisions. It also helps you to keep record for deductions and for audit purposes. Yes, in a case where you want to do a financial audit, although according to the Nigerian regulation, as a small business, you are exempted, you are not mandated really to carry out an external audit. However, you may want to do that, or even in an extreme case, maybe a tax audit by the relevant tax authority. One of the things they will request for is a line-by-line item of your expenses. So this also drives home the importance of tracking your expenses adequately. It also helps you optimize costs. Very, very important. When you track your expenses, you are able to operate your business in the most effective and efficient manner, meaning that you are able to achieve your goal, deliver goal at the least cost possible. Then you also ask yourself, why do I need to even keep track of these expenses? The last but not the least is that it helps you as a freelancer or an MSME make informed business choices. When you know what your cost profile is, you are able to make decisions as to cost-cutting strategy or cost control strategy. You know where you are supposed to cut costs, where you are supposed to increase the cost you incur. Keeping track of your expenses or your costs will avail you the opportunity of doing that. Then we get into it. What are the AI tools you can use for expense tracking? We have Expensify. So it's an automated receipt and scanning. It helps you for the purpose of tracking your expenses, and also it can also help you generate expense reports, right, over a particular time under review. It could be on a daily basis, on a weekly basis, monthly, or even annually. And one good thing about Expensify is that it is AI powered, in that For instance, if you need to get the details for an expense, for instance, all you need to do is just to upload the receipts or the invoice for that expense. The AI tool or functionality in the tool helps you automatically brings out the necessary information, including the vendor's name, the amount you are paying, and categorize them for you automatically. So that is what Expensify does. And also in subsequent lessons, you'll be taught how to use Expensify at the very basic level for expense tracking. The next is Zoe Expense. It's also an AI-powered tool that helps you to categorize expense and also put control around the expenses. You are able to spool your expense reports amongst others. Another one is QuickBooks, right? QuickBooks also have a functionality that helps you manage expenses, right? And you can also even integrate your QuickBooks software with your banking platform where you make payments to, say, your vendor. You're able to integrate that with your API, right? So also, we also have Wave. So Wave is also a free accounting software with expense tracking. You have FreshBooks. It's also AI assisted. You can even use that to also generate invoice and, of course, expense management. The last but not the least is File. File helps you to also track your expense and report it as well. It also have an AI functionality that helps you do that. Then let's take ourselves through step-by-step procedure for tracking or using Expensify. For tracking your expenses using Expensify, number one thing you have to do is to sign up, right? You sign up, you create an account, and once you create an account, automatically you assign the workspace. The next thing is that when you want to create the expense report, you capture the receipt or the invoice. Once you do that and you upload it, the AI functionality of Expensify, like I mentioned earlier on, helps you bring up the details of that payment and it populates it automatically for you. Then after you have captured, of course, the smart scan automation scans it like I explained and bring out the relevant information in that invoice. Then afterwards, it helps you also categorize. You can now also categorize the expenses. There are about 10 categories already that are embedded. I mean, common categories like whether it's a maintenance cost, whether it's rent, whether it's transportation, amongst other things. It also provides you the opportunity to categorize those expenses. And of course, you can create your report. That's where you want to combine expenses into report for approval or for personal review. It also have a functionality for maker checker, which we also discuss when you are being taught on how to use the tool. Then of course, you can also integrate it with your banking platform where you make payments, so through your API. And also, if you want to use accounting software in the future like QuickBooks, Xero, you can also integrate Expensify to it and you're able to use. And of course, it can also help you when you want to categorize expense as whether it's reimbursable or not, right? And at that point, you submit report for reimbursement or analyze spending trend. You're able to analyze spending trend because it affords you the opportunity to also download the expense report where you can then in XLS, Excel format, or any other formats you may deem fit, where you can now further analyze. So in this video, you have learned how to track your expenses at the very basic rudiment and the step-by-step process to using Expensify to track your expenses. Thank you very much.